joined Army ROTC in college in 2003 and was commissioned as an armor officer in May of 2006. I was a platoon leader with 3rd Infantry Division, and on July 11, 2007, I was wounded and suffered severe TBI.
When it all began, he didn't know who we were, who my daughter was. He wasn't really speaking at all, even though he was capable of it. We went back and forth all over the U.S. between medical care and rehab. He was inpatient and rehab for 7 months. He did outpatient rehab for another 7 months. It was a long and hard fight.
NVLSP is trying to help service members and veterans who should be getting a level of benefits that they're entitled to under law that they are not actually getting.
When I helped found NVLSP with David Addlestone back in the 1980, veterans couldn't go to court if the VA wrongly turned down their claim for veterans benefits.
And advocates, even lawyers, had a very hard time making the VA listen. We had one case in Houston, Texas, and this veteran had filed a claim over 20 years ago at that time, and they had ignored his claim. He had all kinds of mental problems and other physical problems, so we brought it to the VA's attention, and when we got done, they had awarded him $750,000 in retroactive benefits.
But the system, it still has major problems, and the people serving in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are suffering due to the problems with the system.
When we got the first initial VA rating, it was shocking. I think they included 3 items with his injuries when there ended up being like 10 to 15 different things that needed to be listed. Different things from seizure disorders to the extreme memory loss, impulsive behavior, aggressive behavior. With that came a higher cost of living, and again, we were just making ends meet. So I was told about National Veterans Legal Services Program, and I called them basically in a panic. And yet, when I started working with them, it was almost like an instant calm. It felt like, okay, here are some people that are actually on our side, that want to help us, want to see that Raymond gets everything that he's due for the sacrifices that he's made for our country.
We have 2 major programs. One is a long-standing program at the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims, where with government funding we recruit and train lawyers to represent for free veterans who have appealed without a representative.
We train lots of people, and as a result, they're much more active today.
The other is the Lawyers Serving Warriors program. A major part of those efforts are to help those returning from Iraq and Afghanistan with disabilities and getting them the proper military or VA benefits.
They can come to us, we'll investigate their case, we'll screen it, we'll assign it to a lawyer, and we'll try and help them get their benefits from VA.
We were able to help a lot of people get retroactive benefits, so we end up writing thousands of people a letter saying, you may be surprised to hear that we've been representing you for the last 20 years in this lawsuit. And the letters we get when they get their benefit check are very inspiring and heartfelt. A lot of them say, we thought nobody cared about our situation.
They did so much. I mean, they've done more than you could ever anticipate. They've just gone above and beyond. Ultimately, in the end, they set up for the whole appeal process if we had to go. They contacted the local VA regional office, They showed all of the evidence towards our case, and we didn't even have to go through the appeal process. And with all of this that they did, it wasn't covered under TRICARE. It was something that their law firm decided they would cover the costs on.
Our biggest challenge is continuing to fund our lawyers serving warriors pro bono work,
which is not funded by any outside sources, so that if we're going to continue it, we need funding to help us continue it.
Funds that we get are leveraged, and we obtain hundreds of millions of dollars in benefits for Vietnam vets with a grant of just a couple of $1 million.
It takes a lot of work on our part, and we need help, financial help, to maintain that program.
If we could just say one thing to them, it would be thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. When they were able to get the VA to up the rating to what Raymond deserves, it was almost like we could breathe again. I knew ultimately, in the end, even though the rating didn't come out at retirement time, I knew that we would be okay because I had that much confidence in them.
It's another battle after the war that needs to be fought using a variety of weapons, and we owe it to them.